Hello guys, and welcome to my new video in which we will cover Enhancement Shaman in pre-raid Wrath of the Lich King gear. This is surely one of the most overpowered and brain dead specs in these early patches. By brain dead I mean that new players can easily kill some enemies that might be more experienced than them with very low effort, which is not specific for majority of other specs. Shamans do very well against both melee and caster enemies, and the only way for casters to have a chance against this spec is to keep their eye on Tremor and Grounding totems, which I will tell you now rarely anyone does under 2k rating. Knowing that fact, you can just summon wolves, put proper totems on ground and just smash the keyboard and kill low to average players. Also, I would say that this spec does very well in these early phases of Wrath, into DPS comp for some fast rating without some insane skill needed. Now let's see how this spec works in 1 vs 1 fights and how it does against different specs. Warriors have never been easy to fight as enhancement, especially in later patches, because they hit like truck and they reduce your healing down with more mortal strikes, which affect Shaman's gameplay a lot. You need to kite a lot, wear some high resilience, and you need to switch between shield and dual wield sometimes. One of the most important things is to keep your magma or searing totem on ground all the time and to proc frost shock freezes as much as you can to keep the distance for heals and avoid retaliation at all costs. I usually open with head-to-head fight while I have Stonecold Totem to absorb his starting damage. Earth Shock is my first choice so I can reduce his attack speed by 30%, and I make sure to fight around the Magma Totem and use Fire Nova whenever you can. When you're done with that opening combo, start kiting with Frost Shock and try to hit Storm Strike whenever it comes for CD. Depends on your HP by that point, you can use your starting Maelstrom either for Hex to force his trinket or to heal if you're a little bit lower on your HP. Forcing Hex on start can be huge lead later, but only if you survive that 45-second cooldown. He dealt so much damage to me, even though I wore a shield, so I had to make a space by summoning the wolves and using stun plus sprint so I can freeze him. Luckily he used Blade Storm so I couldn't really CC him, so I used my Racial to heal up. He made 2 or 3 fast crits on me and I was about to die in no time. I didn't even have time to use my Shamanistic Rage. When he fears your wolves, put Tremor Totem Aesa to cleanse them. Put Earthbind Totem so you can slow him down a little bit while you're trying to heal up, and call your wolves back if they're about to die. As soon as you see retaliation, run away, you can be dead in no time, since you can see that he hit me like 4.2k with single ability. In the middle of healing, I order my wolves to stun him so I can finish up my healing.
Intimidating shout. Defense disarm.
Now I switch to dual wield and use Shamanistic range because I wanted to force his shield wall fast and I knew he doesn't have retaliation. As soon as he used shield wall I hexed him and not much later I tried to sprint away and freeze him with shock, but he used spell reflection.
Berserker stance. Defense stance. Battle stance. Defense stance. Berserker stance. Defense stance. Battle stance. Self-reflection. Defense stance.
Unholy Knights and DKs in general are not that big deal for Shami here. It's true that I couldn't find a really good one here, but I haven't lost a single duel. You can cleanse his diseases, slow him and break chains of ice with Earthbind Totem, use grounding for grip and silence, kill Gargoyle in no time with wolves and kite him infinitely. The best thing is that you can kill his pet very fast on start sometimes, and you will get Maelstrom procs very easy and heal in that time. That way you will force him either to sacrifice his pet or to corpse explosion. You can use your Storm Strike and totems while you're silenced. So all you need to do is to spam Earthbind Totem to cleanse the chains and absorb the damage with Stoneclaw Totem. I mean, this guy is very bad and he did useless Strangulate, but they usually cast Strang before Gargoyle, and that can be tricky if your Stone Clone is on cooldown, and you can get a lot of damage in that time. When you summon wolves, good DKs will try to go after them to kill at least one of them. If they use Icebound on wolves, you can freely run away, put the grounding and start kiting with Frost Shock again, because your wolves are there for 45 seconds. As soon as he summons Gargoyle, use Bloodlust and go with full power on him. You will kill Gargoyle in couple of seconds. Just use instant heals and interrupts when they are available. And also you can use Stoneclaw and Grounding Totem if it's needed. This combo with Sprint and Freeze is something that happens really quick, and I don't really see how DK, regardless if he's good or bad, can answer to that. If he trinkets Freeze, you can hex him after that and heal to full HP again. Also, you can rewind the video 5 seconds earlier and see that as soon as I freeze him, I call my wolves back to me so he cannot heal himself that way. It's something that makes big difference. When I was playing DK, shamans didn't really kite and didn't really move their wolves from me, so I was able to kill them very easy and to stay at decent HP all the time. Retribution Paladins are really easy to beat as enhancement. All you need to do is to dispel hard all the time. Whenever you dispel Sacred Shield, you hit Stone Strike, because Sacred Shield decreases your damage a lot. If he rebuffs, you make space with Sprint and dispel again, and also keep your wolves near you so he cannot use instant heals. I did everything wrong on start because I was sure he will Hoy on Grounding Totem when I trinket, but he had Pyro Rocket on his hand and destroyed it by accident. Anyway, use Trinket just on stun. I started typing because I was sure it was a lost fight, but even with 2k HP I managed to turn it around with Instant Wolves, Stun, Purge Wings and Stoneclaw Totem. Use Sprint and start running around with Purge, Shock Spells and Storm Strike when it's available. And of course we force Divine Shield because there is nothing he can do. If he starts healing, you just interrupt him with Shear. No shields, no kills and slowly dying. If he uses wings in 90%, you kill Paladin before Divine Shield, but I failed in opening hard, so I had to be defensive. Feel free to use Fire Elemental if he uses wings and Divine in same duel. Try to time your grounding totem on his stun. Your priority in fight is Purge till Sacred Shield is down. Storm Strike, Earth Shock, Fire Nova and instant heals and Stoneclaw Totem whenever they are available. Trust me, this duel was the most interesting among all Pala fights, because others die under 30 seconds and there is nothing to watch at all. Feral Druids are pretty tough opponents and you need to wear shield whole fight. You cannot let them stack combo points on you and let them cycle on you all the time, so you won't fight face to face with them. You can see their burst in the video in the background where I didn't even let him test the damage. That was a normal duel. So you want early wolf summon and start kiting with Earthbind Totem, which not only slows him but removes slows on you. That way you will much easier track his predatory strikes and purge it away all the time. Without it, they cannot win. First thing you want to do when stun expires is to drop Stoneclaw Totem, Storm Strike, Earth Shock, and try to purge off first predatory strikes. If he opens with early Berserk, you instant use Shamanistic Rage. As soon as I saw Berserk and Barskin, I used Shamanistic Rage, instant Wolves, stun and purge off his predatory. The more time you buy, the greater chances of winning. Most important is to keep Earthbind on the floor. Use Flame Shock and purge all the time when you are out of range. It's just impossible for them to build combo points that way, because they can't really get to you. Even if they do, you absorb good part of damage with just totems.
Survival Instincts, Trinketed. Big Heal. Nature's Grasp.
With this tactic I showed you, it's very hard for Peril to win, especially if you run some high resilience, which I didn't do in the video. However, there is a tactic you can lose against. Full tactic lays in forcing Trinket and later using Cyclone and Shadow Melting the Wolves to run away in stealth and wait for wolves to expire. I personally hate that kind of players, when we wait around 30 or 40 seconds and doing absolutely nothing, but it seems like legit way to win. He won first duel against me that way, and then I started using Flame Shock to keep him out of stealth, and he again managed to re-stealth. So it's all about Flame Shock and stealth. As you can see, instead of renewing Flame Shock, I used Frost Shock to snare him, which was fail. Fighting against ferals without wolves is just impossible, they're just much more superior.
Cyclone. Dash. Big Heal.
Fights against good rogues are always on the edge, but Pulse makes difference, and I'm sure I made about 70% win rate against rogues. In this fight I forgot to change my strength totem to Stone Skin to boost my armor, and this talent will surely help a lot fighting a rogue. Use Magma or Searing totem as a fire and stand on it. I revealed like 7 out of 10 rogues with that little trick. If rogue opens without Shadow Dance, you shouldn't trinket the kidney. If he does, go with distant Shamanistic Rage, and sometimes you should trinket and sometimes not, depends on his damage and his position. I didn't trinket in this specific duel. Now this can be tricky. If you trinket the blind while his cloak isn't on cooldown, your trinket almost worth nothing, because he can simply remove your Flame Shock and vanish, so you will eat another 5 CP kidney. But there is a thing, we can see that he opened very fast and didn't allow me to heal, but he was clearly starving with energy, which allowed me to use my cooldowns and survive his next opener. Anyway, I think the best thing is to try to summon wolves and use Flame Shock just after their first kidney, and not to trinket the blind. That way he must use cloak and vanish, because wolves wouldn't allow him, but that way he might sap you and you wouldn't even make it to the next kidney, because you will die much earlier. All depends on resilience, which was low in my case. In this fight I use my trinket once more on blind because it's just impossible to survive till second kidney, and you have to summon wolves between two openers, renew shield and make at least one heal. So you may be asked, why would you wait for blind if you can just trinket kidney and fight? Well, I have another video where I trinket kidney ASAP and I ate blind right after it, and I didn't have time to summon wolves or heal or do anything special. So if we trinket blind, he must either open fast with no energy left, or recover his energy and let us do at least one heal and summoning, which makes big difference. I also managed to win that duel too, but it's very lucky. Now let's get back to our second duel where I didn't trinket a kidney. I trinketed blind and my idea was to flame shock him and stun him with pet Aesa, but I failed. However, I had time to make at least one heal. And as I said earlier, first thing you want to do is to drop Stoneclaw Totem and then use Instant Spring to remove slow effects. Then use Earthbind Totem not so much time later, so you can keep him slowed even if his shadow steps behind you. I paused the video to show you very important thing, which is to track his evasion, and this moment it was about to expire, so I prepared Pet Stun and Storm Strike in same time when it expires, and you will see some decent damage with just one weapon in hand. Alright guys, we have Frost Mage here, and this is surely one of his all characters, because I can see that he is experienced and he knows what he's doing. First, I forgot to use Frost Resistance Totem at start. Now you will see absolutely useless trinket because I dropped Stoneclaw Totem on ground, which is enough to survive this opening deep freeze. He saw that and instantly used Poly and reopened. So if you have Stoneclaw on ground, don't trinket if both of you are on full health. Now, as soon as he breaks the Poly and freeze you, use Wolves and break the freeze with Sprint. While running to him, spam Purge to dispel his shield and icy veins. I also hit Flame Shock so he cannot turn invisible. That's probably the reason why he used Ice Block ASAP to remove Dot from it and then to freeze me again. This was the deciding moment. I was expecting deep freeze and my reaction was a little bit slow with grounding Totem. If he failed DP on Totem, I would Flame Shock him and I wouldn't let him turn invisible. I sent my pet to leap and stun, but I was late again. When he turns invisible and let your wolf send, there is like 80% chance to lose. I should have dropped Stoneclaw Totem here, it would help me a lot. Try to kill his elemental whenever you can, he deals very good damage too. Spam Purge whenever you are out of range and Frost Shock to try to snare him. And very important tip is to use Earthbind Totem because it removes slow from Frost Bolts. I dropped Earthbind Totem and Global CD made me unable to ground in the first poly. Also I was silenced so I couldn't cheer.
Finally, I paid my dues, now you play the blues. Bottom line, you're out of time, now you're gonna learn what it's like to lose. You took something beautiful.
Be careful with fake cast because they are pretty often against better players. Use Earthbind to remove slows and use grounding just for max rank frost bolts, not dropping it random whenever it comes from cooldown. Warlocks can be tough enemies if they are destroyed, and they are really good in killing every Tremor totem with his pet, and watching out for grounding tokens. If Warlock doesn't do that, you win with 100% health. This guy had like 500 more Gearscore and like 900 resilience, and he's surely 2k plus with Warlock. He farmed in dual zone, but I would surely find a way to beat him if he stayed a little bit more. But he was there like only 5 duels. I didn't have opportunity to find a decent Warlock, so I didn't really know what to trinket and what tactic to use. I didn't put Tremor on the ground on start, but it isn't some big mistake because it makes absolutely no difference, because he has more than enough time to destroy it with pet. This trinket was also poor because I could use pet stun to interrupt his cast, save my trinket. I put Tremor totem for potential Hall of Terror. Last time I trinketed Fear, he used coil instantly, so I put grounding totem now, but he saw that and destroyed before he used coil. Then I used my pet stun to interrupt his opener with Immolate. As I said, the difference is huge between average and very good Warlocks. He knew I could easily interrupt his Fear cast with Shear, and he used Silence and prepared his pet to destroy a new Tremor totem. As soon as I left Fear, I put another Tremor to cleanse my vault from Fear, and I was pretty good in that moment. Soon I interrupted his Chaos Bolt, but it was all in vain since he dealt 7 to 8k damage in 1.5 seconds. 200 bonus resilience would surely made a difference here, but I could play much better. So let's try to see what we could do better. For example, on start I could put my Stoneclaw totem and save my trinket. That way he would probably fear me and my wolves and start with Immolate. Stoneclaw would absorb some damage and I would try to ground in the Chaos Bolt from his opener. Now when he destroyed my Tremor, I didn't put new one, but it would make no difference in this case, because I started chasing him and putting totem near him, and pet it would be easily destroyed. Seeing that he retreated his pet from me, I could run in other direction and put Tremor there, which will buy me a lot of time. He would probably again use Fear with Silence, so I cannot interrupt it, but now he would have to destroy Tremor behind me, while Fear duration is already 50% reduced, so I wouldn't need to trinket it either. Now he would probably try to coil me, which I could just trinket ASAP and put much more pressure on him while Shadow Fury cooldown is not there. I should also save my Shamanistic Rage for Shadow Fury and use my Draenei Racial in that time, and it would be GG. Seconds and little plays make difference in such fights. For example, I had my grounding and Stoneclaw totem in 2 seconds from my death. So I lived here, I would win even with all these mistakes. So I repeat again, I would make a better video if I had a chance to play like 10 or 20 duels against someone good. Other Warlocks were just really bad. One guy was destroying totems, but again I won with full HP. You need to do all the things, destroying totems, both grounding and Tremor, to use Silence in proper way, to use Shadow Fury in proper way, to use Hall of Terror and much more things. For example, I did good Tremor totem here and he forfeit duel because he saw he will lose this. In general, I have fun playing this pack and I still think it's overpowered, while not very hard to play. I was trying to find the best enemies I could, but death knights were impossible to find. I had some really good duels against Paladin, where I used all cooldowns and it was perfect video, but pity I didn't record that. I tried my best finding really good casters, but showing random Warlocks or Mage really had no point. In case this is the reality and you don't usually find good players on battlegrounds. Good players are always the minority in population, and in that circumstances, enhancement dominates in this gear. So guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because it means a lot to me. Thanks once more, peace, and see you soon.